Yeah.
I love
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I got home from the studio. Everybody was eating. So right now, our family every year. I don't know if I told you this, but Kenzie, her brother passed away like 10 years ago, and so every year they do Caleb's Cup. This past couple of days and this week, there's just a bunch of family in town, so it has been kind of hectic, but good hectic.
They all come together to kinda honor his memory.
Yeah. So they do a little. We did a little. It's like a winery where we kind of have music and competition and raffle tickets and stuff like that, just to kind of like gather people. And then we show a little video. And then this week we did a little worship night at a church down the street from where we live.
Mm.
And then yesterday was a golf tournament. So they have a whole bunch of people come together, play golf, and again another little opportunity to win some prizes. I won, which is really cool. I was kind of
Okay.
my first time winning, but I won a scooter, so that was really, really cool. A little motorized scooter, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's fun. Kinsey, on the other hand, wants me to return it because she doesn't want me riding anything motorized. So she wants me to return it back to Costco and get something else.
No.
So I'm kind of like, oh man. But yeah, it's been so and that was yesterday. And then today, our studio, we are switching everything over to Christmas. So from today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll be at the studio just setting things up and tearing things down and getting things delivered. And then this morning I had my tooth, I had to get my teeth cleaned.
That can be
So it was
painful.
deep cleaning for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's painful and it's boring.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a long time. It's been a long couple days, but welcome to the Two City Podcast. Your boy Jamar and Chad, where two friends are starting two different communities in two different cities. Chad, how you been, man?
I've been so good. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited. I sent a text out on Sunday to pretty much like some of these like key people that I've been meeting that have like awesome hearts, awesome minds, just people that are excited about building a mosaic here in Chicago, and just hit them up saying, "Hey, let's get together and open up an unstoppable force." Book by Pastor Irwin. He wrote like 20 years ago that's just as relevant today about building the church, looking at it more as an organism and less as an organization, and see if we can, just from a fresh, creative perspective, build something together, ask questions, open, discussion. So we're going to do one in person. We're going to start in person and see how it goes. Everybody's like living pretty busy lives. We might move to Zoom, but meet twice a month and just go through the book. And I'm
Nice.
actually going through it again myself and just read the, origins, the beginning of it, and I was like, wow, it's just so good.
Oh, I think I was like I was as you were talking, I have it somewhere. Right?
Right, yeah, it's like, so, I mean, it's the language we've been spoiled. I guess we kind of just grown up in it by being part of Mosaic for so long,
For
but
those that are
just
looking, here's the book, Unstoppable Force. Yep, that's it. This is the book. This is the blueprint, I guess you can say. But go ahead, what you saying?
no, it's just open it up, talking about being, a spiritual environmentalist, and, that adaptability is crucial, like changing and taking care of community, that you would, even though it seems like obvious that you would relationships are important, but just having this balanced ecosystem, this idea that it's not just for your community in the church bubble, but like to the outsider. Like, what is our relationship like to the people that don't come to church, that are outside, that are in your, as we would, a Christian would call it, like a secular world, but like your world outside of the church? How are those relationships? Do they mirror the relationships that you have inside the church? I was like, yeah, that's really good to think about. Is it that balanced ecosystem that will show if your organism is actually healthy? Sorry, do you hear that siren going by? Because, you could look at where, you're taking care of, um, each other, and then you forget about the outsider or how, y uh, who Jesus is, and you're not really, like you're not growing. You kinda, like, shut that door for growth. You might be maturing and you might be growing as a community, but then you're not growing as far as people coming in new to faith or curious or I wonder what that's about. You're just not reaching people that way.
Yeah.
But he talked about the 5 different characteristics and just kind of digging into that. And but the one thing that just stood out from just that first one is just the relationships that are outside of my, the believers that I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good book, man. I mean, like it's like you said, there's so many things that you think that would be so easy, but I wonder if it's so easy to us because we just been like it's just it's ingrained in us, in a good way.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, I'm like, listen, man, you cut me open. I'm like, I'm gonna bleed Mosaic. When I was helping another church, I was like, I'm gonna bleed Mosaic. I can't like it's hard to go once you're on the other side. For me, I guess it was really hard for me to see anything any other way, you
Hmm.
know, just because I don't know. Sometimes it made such sense to try to do anything else would make it like nonsensical. So
Hmm.
I don't know. It was it's a good book. It's a great book.
Well, yeah, Yaley and I are going to a church, Soul City. I met with their head pastor, one of the first weeks I came out to visit. I was pretty upfront with him saying like that one, I would love to build a mosaic in Chicago, but two, I don't have one, and going to church is important. Can I come to your
Yeah, yeah,
church?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And he's been Jared Stevens, the pastor there, just been so kind and welcoming to our family. And the person over the kids community remembered or over Mosaic over Soul City youth remembered Amelie. And she's like Amelie, like she met her one time, and then like a month later, we finally started going, and she's like Amelie remembered her and welcomed her right in. I just thought so great how they just have taken care of us, and that's like a place that we can go, we can worship, we can receive while we're figuring things out. And I like the idea that he's like, hey, he told me, he's like, Chicago needs a mosaic, and he understands it. It's a different expression, and it's going to reach people. It's going to reach those outsiders and the relationships that may not go to Soul City. They might go to Mosaic.
Sure.
But yeah, it does bring up a lot of questions, just to be real, and this probably will be something we bring up in the call tomorrow. It's one of my burning questions. There are people that are hearing about potentially being a Mosaic Chicago that go to Soul City, and they're finding me now. Like, "Hey, I used to go to Mosaic," or, "I love Pastor Irwin," and so they're asking me, "Are we starting something?" or, "You're gonna have a Mosaic here, is Pastor Irwin coming?" So I'm like, "Oh, we're feeling it out right now, but, me and my family are just coming here to Soul City." But yeah, we're hoping to do that. That's what we wanna to grow and do. But now I'm like, there's this little ethical dilemma now I'm finding myself into. It's like, I don't wanna take anybody that's already
Yeah.
going to church, but they do seem like if there was a mosaic here in Chicago, they would have been going here. There just wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, even in this call with you, like, what are your thoughts on, like
Yeah. It's a great question. And, you know, we've even talked about it. And some other people have talked about, how there's some churches who just get very, very not weirded out, but I mean, I guess they just, they get very territorial, ter- terri
territorial?
territorial. I can't say
Yeah.
that word. So, whatever. The first thing that comes to my mind is I would say maybe don't stress too much about it until it happens. And
Mhm.
I think for me, when I first came out, I was kind of like the same thing where people were kind of and they go to Passion, they go to Free Chapel, they go to some of these other churches that are nearby. And I think what happens is uh, you it's one of those things where I think you just need to just like cross that bridge when that bridge comes. Don't
Right.
stress too much about it. because one person might say that today, and then 3 months from now, completely different. I think people love that new exciting things. I think, you know, I think when you get to that point where you start having kind of like this very like core committed team, I think that's where you can kind of have the conversation of like,
Right.
I just want to make sure if you're serving somewhere else, you need to have that conversation. But I think for right now, you're good. Don't stress too much about it. Uh, s- there's one person I know who's wanting to be a part of Mosaic in Atlanta. It was the first time I came, and I mean the first time we went through it, and it was more of like, dude, just come and just hang out. That's what it was. It was like, dude, just come and hang out. Because I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to tell you to leave
Right.
because you already have a church. You already have a
Right.
community. We don't have that yet. We're not a church. So like don't leave something that you have for something that you don't have. Again, not saying that that it couldn't happen. It was just more of like, dude, just stay there because you're involved. You got friends. You're serving. Like, do that. Like, stay there.
Right.
And then sure enough, he ended up just staying there, and now he's the campus pastor for the one in Atlanta,
Wow.
in Atlanta City. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he was definitely showing interest. Like, he was coming over. We were meeting up. He was asking questions, and I think that, and looking back at it, I think I'm glad I didn't give it too much thought. Again, not saying that I was oblivious to it, and not understanding his role,
Sure.
but also I was kind of like, I'm kinda glad I didn't it's almost like it's better to, like, scale up to that moment than to pull back
Mhm.
or to, like, down the road, all of a sudden, that person goes, "Oh, no, see ya," or, something changes or you have to now change something last minute or I don't know. It's better to, like, scale up. But that's my 2 cents. I bet you those guys tomorrow will have something more profound to say.
Yeah.
That'd be my
Yeah, I'll
thing.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely bring it up. It is a concern. Like I said, the head pastor at Soul City he's amazing. We love the church. We feel so blessed there. And the last thing, obviously we want is any weirdness. So yeah, I just want to do that with honor and be above reproach with all that stuff. But
I think what you're saying right there is great. I think if you got people from that church wanting to come over, I feel like you should be like, "Hey, you should serve. You should stay where you're at." But obviously, at the same time, though, you can't like if they want to come over, like, they can come over. Like it's one of those things where it's like you don't want to say no for the person, and who knows, maybe that person's chapter is closed there and moves on. But I think that what you're doing is kind of like good of like, hey, just being there, showing people, but also kind of like, hey, s- if you're serving here, serve here.
yep,
Give that person the heads up of like, "Hey, you're committed here. Be committed here." But then, hey, if you feel like that chapter's closed, then go talk to your leader. Go talk to your pastor. You know what I'm saying? And tell them
right.
what's going on. Like keep them posted. I think the main thing is like communication.
Communication.
Like it's communication to me. It's because it's like it doesn't matter. Like they're not. These people are not our people. It's like they're not mine. They're not yours. They're not
Right.
anybody's. They're God's. And so who knows what God is doing in their life. So I don't wanna say no for them, at the same time, so
Yeah, I mean, even in Pastor Irwin's like that book, The Life Cycle Harmony. I mean, he talks about I think when Mosaic comes, yeah, I find tremendous freedom in knowing that Mosaic will come and go, that one day a new generation will perhaps find that the structures and styles we have chosen must be buried, and the groom might continue to have a pure and spotless bride. That even he's writing someday, like the life cycle, like, oh, I'm here for a season, the church is here for a season, it could then move on and it's whatever's new, as long as it's like in a healthy way. Oh, sorry, it cut out for a second.
no, that's me, you're good.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, I think like we've always been that way. Like with Mosaic, when people are like, "Hey, I found another church," or "I'm going," it's sad. You're kind of like, "Oh, you hate to
Yeah.
lose something," but you totally understand. Like, oh, they found their community at this other church. I remember a good friend of mine ended up going to Vintage. Um, it was sad. Like I didn't want to lose that friend, and he was also on my team. But at the same time, he felt like really connected with the people there, and he started I think he ended up finding we still talk a little bit. I think he's engaged now. He, like, found his girl, and maybe that was the whole reason, you know?
Like that's where I'm like, you don't wanna hold on too tight
Yeah.
to people who come into your life. You have to know that they're there either for a season, they might be there for a long time, but even that, like, as we're doing this podcast, I feel like this might be helpful for some people who are probably will listen to this or who are building a community or building a church. It's like, know that the people in your life, first and foremost, they're not your people, they're
Mhm,
God's. God
mm.
has a plan for them. God is moving in their life for them. And if you ever get to a place where you become bitter or controlling, or you're holding on to them, like you never know what you're withholding from them because maybe God has something else planned for them. And like that gentleman, he's got engaged.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so it's like
that's a big life thing that
that's
you're
a
getting
big
in the way
yeah.
of.
That's like so like humble your pride,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
off your high horse, and know that if God can bring them, God can bring more people. But more importantly, I don't you want that person to be married? Like, don't you want that person to find their significant other? Like, that's what you
Yeah.
want for them, you know? Like, that's amazing. And whether it's at Mosaic or whether it's at another church, to me at that point, it doesn't matter, you know? And that's what that guy I said last a couple weeks ago, the guy who's a drummer who's been coming. And I said, bro, if you're here with us for a short time, I know that you are getting kind of burnt right now with churches and, because you're playing an instrument. I was like, dude, if you're here for a long time, awesome. If you're here for a short time, that's fine. As long as if we are a place for you to have peace, I'm cool with that. And I'm okay
Mm.
with that. Like that is that is my posture. That is my heart, you know? So
Yeah,
it's
I think
like,
as soon as you feel that where you're, like, holding on too tight, that's a red flag or an indicator that maybe you're looking at this from an unhealthy perspective. Like, I need to be open-handed with my people. Like, yeah, and really, I think the book also starts with this, as a sorry, I keep quoting this because I'm literally working on this, but things keep coming to mind as the spiritual
yeah, it's great.
environmentalist. They have the unique task of leading the people of God to become who they really are. If you look at that, it's like, oh, my job, my task here is to help people become who they really are. I have to do that open-handedly. Can't like cling on, even though I'm holding on to them might make my team better, but is it making them better? So that, oh no, my number one priority is really being a good shepherd to everyone and taking care of them, and that takes care of the environment. That's a healthy environment. Letting people go, that's probably just healthy growth. That's actually just gonna help you grow more.
Yeah. And you never know who's waiting in the wings to grow or to step into that role or to step into that particular position and do something even 10 times more because the other person was kind of like a cat, not in a bad way, but maybe the next level that person was like, yeah, I can take this and make it better. Who knows? I don't know. I just been at a point in my life where I'm like, hey man, I'm trying to have the posture and the heart of understanding that there's going to be people who are hired hands and then some people who are going to be shepherds, people who are going to be there for a long time and then some people who are
Uh-huh.
going to be there for a short time, and I think that's okay, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that's good, man. That's great. Anything else going on in your life? Any
It's my week with Amelie. She's revving up her school hours, her homeschool hours have revved up a bit. So she's doing a lot more schoolwork than back. We could pretty much do everything she needed to do in like 3 hours. And so
Yeah,
that we would have the rest of the time to kind of play and just connect. But now she's doing like 5, 6 hours of school, which is great because I'm working while she's doing that. But yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a little less on the playtime. The playtime happens like kind of like later in the evening, which is fine.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, she's good. She's doing so good. Her writing is improved. She wrote about her chickens. She wrote this story about her chickens. She's got like, well, she had 12 chickens, but some coyotes got a few. But she wrote this story about one of her chickens that she loves, and it was so touching and it pulled you in. I was like, and she used like you heard her voice. You're like, you knew who this writer was. Yeah, she's my daughter, but I'm reading it going, I get who you are as a human, the way you're writing
Wow.
this. And I was just,
Yeah.
you know, like you know that voice. So if I saw that writing anywhere, I'd be like, that's Amelie. And she really
Yeah.
writes from the heart. And it's super sweet. And yeah, and Yaylee and I are good. Family's good. We just feel blessed every day. Trey and Julie just moved here. Their first day was I picked them up at the airport 2 days ago. So today was their first
Nice.
day being and they're staying at an Airbnb in Bucktown. Their place in West Loop opens up in, like, 10 days or so.
Wow.
It's wild. It's like, not only do we have some people from Mosaic that moved to Chicago, it just happens to be, like, our best friends.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
great.
gotta say though, I gotta say, like starting that and having somebody already with the ethos and the blood of like is gonna be helpful for you. Like that is going to be you have no idea how that's going to help energize and inject the culture because you already have somebody else that's already there that already gets it and is
Yes.
already a part of it, you know? Because that's the hard part for me is like I'm sure anybody starting something, but it's like getting the ethos of Mosaic into people, in the culture. Like that part is like because there's a lot of churches here. We're in the South,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and
What's gonna set it apart is building that Mosaic culture.
yeah, yeah, and so it's gonna, yeah, exactly, yeah, that's gonna set it apart. Once we get that Mosaic culture, it's gonna stand out. I think it's like with anything, right? You're breaking ground. It's the hard part. It's the topsoil, you know, and so that's been kind of like a really, kind of challenging moment is going, okay, cool. How do we transfer this? How do we get this going?
Do you have
But
some
yeah,
Do you have some people I mean, could you do something similar? Like or I don't know if Unstoppable Force seems, it's all about building that culture. Is it something you would wanna do, like, with
I do. I do. So here's my thing. Like I want to do Unstoppable Force. And I did it before. Maybe. So when I did it last time, and not saying this is gonna happen again, but I feel like there's a part of me that wants to wait until I get like a few more people. So I did it last time and we did Unstoppable Force and we did it on Zoom and just kind of it just was like I don't know if it's like maybe over Zoom or maybe because we were all meeting in we're meeting in person. It just didn't
Mm,
feel like it transferred. It felt like we were just doing like work. It just felt like it was like I don't know. I would say by the third or fourth week, it just felt like people were kind of like reading it last minute
mm,
and then coming, but no one really had anything to say or any type of like and so it felt just kind of like this is not it's not it's not working. It's not transferring. So I'm like, I'm not like hesitant. I want to do it again. I think my point is like, I don't know if it's like finding the right people to do it with, like specifically finding the right people who want to, and then going deep into that because I feel like that'd be something, or if it's getting enough people to where we're all going, hey, we're gonna read this book and go through this together, or maybe me going and doing like a teaching thing. Like we just do like one chapter and I just go and teach it. We find a spot, just
yeah.
teach it for like 30, 45 minutes or something like that to where, most people are not gonna read it. Uh, Again, that's where my mind's going.
I will say, like, of all of Pastor Irwin's books, I don't know what the right word, collegiate or it feels what's
I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of the word. It's a different read than, like, Barbarian Way.
Yeah.
You read Barbarian Way not that this book is not energizing. I can totally nerd out on this. But Barbarian Way has this, like, let's go do something," right? And this kinda takes a layer after layer, and you're kinda, like, unraveling stuff. You're like, "Oh, wow, whoa." It's a great journey, but I wonder if, like, my first thing I do with my group here, this might be another question I ask tomorrow, is an Unstoppable Force the best book to start with, or should I join everyone else that Mosaic is doing and do Barbarian Way?
I was thinking about doing Barbarian Way because it's already what everybody else is doing, and so it's just an easy ask, and it's like they're also seeing that the main campus is doing it and everybody else is doing a book club. So I'm like, I feel like that might be the easiest ask I can get people together and go, "Hey, let's do a book club with the Barbarian Way." I feel like hopefully we might be able to find some people and pull some people from that. And then once I find the right people, because you're right, you and I, we can nerd over this stuff all the time. It's an onion. It's like a layer by layer by layer. I think what it was for me, for those guys the first time, I wonder if it was maybe too much or too layer by layer.
Yeah.
And so I feel like at one point they just kind of got to the point of like, yeah, 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 you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
you got to find the right people that are like, yes, I am totally down with
This
momentum and creating culture. And it's like,
yeah,
It's a f trust me, it's a fun book. I've got so much highlighted and underlined
it's my
in the
favorite.
crevices. I mean, like, every time I read it, it's like, I'm like, "Yes, favorite," but I'm always felt but kind of like, I just know that if I did this now, I think I might
Yeah.
lose him by chapter 3, chapter 4,
Chapter
and then I'm like,
3, yeah, before you even get to the core values.
yeah. So I'm like, "You know what? I think I wanna do it again." I'm just either thinking, 1, I find the right people, 2, a lot more people, a bigger group. Maybe like we have like this big book club, but there's like 6 or 7 people that are just kind of like the core, kind of like, okay, cool. This we can go deep in, or do more of like a teaching kind
Yeah,
of,
I think that the energy of Barbarian Way, like that, and it's a shorter book, quicker read, it burns hot. You have action steps, it's an action oriented, like, let's go right now. Maybe that is a good book study to do, book club to do first, and then identify some people that are totally down to step into that,
yeah,
unstoppable force.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna start
yeah,
just because that's what Mosaic is doing anyway. So,
yeah. We might as well
for
just jump on
Mosaic,
with it. Yeah. So we might as well just do that. Plus, I think it'll be easier to just promote and
yeah, yeah.
tell people and be like, hey, we're all doing a book club, you know, uh, worldwide. We're all doing book clubs. So we're going to do a book club. And plus, just kind of like material too that you don't have to like. For me, like we're doing Bible studies every week, so it'd be cool to just have something else that's different.
Yeah. I was picking it just because it's so foundational,
No, it's great.
but I think
It's
that
great.
you can still build that foundation, but, like, have people connecting, fired up about reaching other people. Um, yeah, that's
No,
great.
it's a thick book. I mean, like it's a deep. It's not monuments, monasteries, and moments with Monet. It's
No,
But you gotta find the right people that are just kind of like, "Oh, yeah, this is good." I think some people, I remember the last time I did the book and I would come and, read it and I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's talk about it." And it was just like, you're just like, "You didn't read this at all." Like, you did I can tell you didn't read it at all. So
um
let's just not waste our time.
yeah, you can't it's not a book you can skim. You can't, like,
No,
just skim through it
you
and
can't.
get the gist. It won't
No.
work. That not on this
Nope.
one.
No.
Maybe you can get by in some other book clubs doing that, but not Unstoppable Force.
No, it's a
You need
little
to, like,
thick.
meditate on it.
Yep. Yep. So, but yeah, man. I mean, for me, that's pretty. I mean, like this week was a bye week for us because um a couple people couldn't make it because they went to Tennessee and we had our Caleb's Cup. So it was kind of like a week to kind of like, hey, let's just take this week off. Even though we've been meeting for the past, I want to say like month and a half. So it was nice to have a little break. But other than that, I mean, for me, here's one thing that I will say that is kind of, a thought in my mind that I've been having is And I know, I think that I know the answer is like vision and you gotta have, but I think for me, here's what I think. My question, and I was thinking about this the past couple of days, like, how do I make this into a very succinct, very easy question? Is how do I keep the momentum between the gap of where we are now and where everybody wants to be? So what do I mean by that? Where we are now is a small group of people getting together, hanging out. Where
Small
we
group.
want to be, yep, where we want to be is a church. And I think sometimes people are assuming that we're a church. Like we're not a church. We're not yet. One day we will. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not where we're at yet. One day we will have like teams and we'll have a place and we'll have things going. And by that I mean like the church that that you go on Sunday church. When you think of church, when most people think of church, they think of like, let's say for instance, for me it's passion, building, worship, team, lights, the glitz and glory. And I think a lot of people are expecting that now. Now, obviously, that's part of it, right? Is helping that transition. But for me, and maybe it's just in my head, but there's moments where I'm like, I did it the first time, so I'm doing it again. There's parts of me that thinks that people are going, okay, I think I might wait. I might see what happens because it's not, it's not taken off, or nor have I seen the same things I've seen at other campuses in the sense of when Mosaic's coming. And so I feel like there's a part of people who are just kind of like, well, I'll just wait till kind of find out, see what happens. And I feel like sometimes I feel like the uphill battle I have would be just kind of like, how do I keep that momentum? How do I keep that fire? You've seen Mosaic is a church, a brand. They've seen how they do other campuses, and this one's not looking like that. So, and again, it's like, it's not like it's a bad thing. You have, was it, Quito and, Ecuador is completely, he didn't have a whole bunch of stuff, you know, and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, cool. Like and then again, I'm not saying that it's, same for both places, but being in the South, I think people are just used to just, hey, you have a church, like it's boom, and that will make us stand out and make us different. And I think these early beginnings will make us different and will make us stand out when we do get on our legs and we get to stand up. I think for me right now, the hard part is like, one, how do I tell people this is different or we're trying again? But two, how do I keep that momentum and that fire going in between those when it doesn't seem like it is at every other place? As far as just like, we were talking about one thing and they were, oh, we should get a sign, like get like a sign and print it out that like Mosaic New York has. And I'm all like, that's great, that's awesome, but I'm also like, that costs money. We're gonna get the sign. That's like a nice sign. We're gonna get that printed. My mind is going into kind of like, how do you print that up? And I'm like, cool. And it's like, someone can go, oh, I'll pay for it, but it's just like after a while, and I'm not paying for a whole bunch of stuff. It's gonna eat, it's gonna eat into your money. I think sometimes people are looking at other campuses and going, well, how come we're not doing that? And that's where I feel like I'm kind of in right now.
Yeah, can I say a few thoughts that came to
For
mind
sure.
on that? I think the book club will be great, as we talked about already. Doing Barbarian Way, which they're all Mosaic is doing, is great. I think the potential of a pop up in Atlanta and Chicago eventually. I think that's exciting. So being
Yeah.
invited in, like the vision part of being invited in the ground floor of building towards that, and moving towards the launch of a campus. This is you know the vision conversation that you're inviting someone into. On the wait part, you said like, oh, you know what, you're not quite there yet, I'm gonna wait. I mean, that's not the people you're gonna grow it with anyway, so it's
Yeah.
fine that they go do something else. but I think the people that are really they they're not even bought in by even Mosaic. It's you, Jamar. It's you, like, oh, like I look at how Jamar's living his life. I see like what he has. That's, he's the leader that I want to follow. I think I've had like little moments in the dinners and the connections I've made that I really feel like the people that I invited to this are actually following me, which is great. And they love Mosaic. Super excited about that. But I think I've pastored them in moments. Already I'm like, they're looking at me like, oh, shoot, this is my pastor. Somehow this
Mhm,
happened like really quickly. So that I think like one of the thoughts, like, I know I need to be active.
mhm.
If I'm not doing something, like physically doing something, we can sit around and talk and open up a book, and that's beautiful, and we can teach. But I feel like we need to be an active service. We need to go and serve the community. And one of the first like goals of that first meeting we have is like, hey, let's talk about how we can all get together and roll up our sleeves, get dirty, and do something beautiful for the city. Like actually getting, serve. Especially like as Thanksgiving is just like right around the corner. There's a plethora of things that we can be a part of. I'm going to a thing on Thursday that all the community comes together, all these nonprofits, and they talk about serving the community. So I'm going to meet a ton of people and get some ideas of what we can do that I can bring my group in, 12 people that are kind of following Yaley and I. Say, hey, let's go all of us together and go do this service project. The one that seems
Yeah,
to me, whichever one I'm going to find, it's the one that feels like we're actually going to have bonding time. We're gonna
yeah,
laugh together. We're gonna
yeah.
stay up late. We're gonna be tying little, like all here's what Mosaic is to me. Mosaic is not what we did on Sunday. It's what we did
Right,
Saturday as a volunteer, Saturday or Monday through Saturday,
right.
late at night, cleaning, fixing things, doing little decorations or whatever little job that we were doing together. And then those moments of serving and having that time together, we're laughing, we're connecting, we're talking about things we wouldn't normally talk about, even
Oh,
at
for
a
sure.
party or a hang. It's just different. The mind starts it goes into a different place and it creates stickiness. So I think like if you could find a way where Atlanta could serve together, that will create the stickiness where I think now you're a group of friends that go and serve and also you're gonna have a mosaic. That's just kind of some of my thoughts for that gap because it's the same deal. It's like I was really excited. I want to do October 16th. I want to do pop up then. That's not happening. So I'm like, okay, well, what I want to fill that. I want to fill it with something. And getting together and worshiping, I think, is awesome. So I want to do an intimate worship night, but I really think there's something in actively together, shoulder to shoulder, doing something and doing something hard. So I don't know what this. I don't want to just sit there and hand out boxes of food. I want to do give us the hardest job, and we'll put on the hazmat suits and get
Yeah,
to
yeah.
work.
No, yeah,
We did that trip to North Carolina, a group of us went with Pastor Kim, and that group got so like, we were so sticky. That group,
yeah,
we had each other's back, we saw some tough stuff, we went up against some wild things, but, that group came back so solid. We coulda gone and started a church in North Carolina with that group.
yeah,
I think that there's something there that,
yeah. No, I think you're good. No, I totally agree. I am like two things that come to mind is one is this is exactly what we did the first time.
it was 2020. I don't think it counts.
No, no, no. Listen, 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 listen. That doesn't mean that it can't happen again. I'm just saying it's so funny that you say that because it was just a reminder of like that's exactly what we did, and it was during George Floyd stuff. So we got a bunch of people, and we made it's so funny that you said that. We made
So crazy.
boxes of stuff. We went over somebody's house. We did the hard work of buying food, putting into boxes. We went and drove down to police departments and we gave them food and we gave them boxes and we said thank you very much. And then we also went down in this downtown Atlanta and started cleaning the spray paint. So we actually got down and started rubbing the walls of downtown Atlanta. So what you're saying is like completely right. I'm like, I did that. My thing is, that's the first part. So maybe we need to do it again, and obviously it's a little bit different. So I'm like, yeah, we could always get back to surfing. Yes. And here's the one part though, my mind comes up, and this is the part that I'm like, so when we did that, we first came out, we had no kids. And now I had all the time in the world to drive down to Atlanta and do what I wanted to do, and I could be there all day. And now we have kids. And now I'm like, okay, now I've got to so again, I don't want to use as an excuse. It's just more of just kind of like it's more of like, okay, how do I will say okay, here's this too. It's like when we first came out here, it was 2020. So it was like nothing was happening, nothing was going on, you know. We just moved into our in-laws, so had time, had no kids, and then, didn't really work because we didn't have any money, whatever. A couple years later, now I'm like, I've got 3 days where I have a business, right? Where have paid thousands of dollars to come to a studio. So I have to do that. Like no one else can do that. That's going to take up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then I've got two kids. One's an infant. So my mind is going, okay, how do I and maybe it's finding people, but it's like and maybe it's being more intentional too of finding one day. Like obviously we can find a day, plan for it, and make time for it. Like that's not a problem. And maybe that's what it is. It's maybe having the time to sit down and pick something and then work towards that, as opposed to before I could just pick something and then just go do it. I think
Yeah,
that's
but
maybe
you're
what it is.
I mean, everyone in my group right now, no, not everyone, but a good 3 of them have little ones.
Yeah.
So everything has to be planned. Like, we have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
plan
yeah.
way in advance.
Yeah.
Trying to get this one dinner with this one couple has been impossible.
Yeah.
So I know that little ones like Amelie is like she's good. Once they get to a certain age, they're self-sufficient. They're better than you at a lot of things. So it's
Yeah.
kind of awesome. But little ones, it is I remember it's a different dynamic. I remember as single daddying it, it was really tough. But you have to yeah, I think for me it was scheduling in advance. Like I had to do
Yeah.
it in advance, but which is really hard with Mosaic because everything was like last minute. But you do have family there, right?
We do, but it's one of those things where and that's where I think we can as long as we plan ahead of it, we can make it work. I think that's what it is. I think, like, for instance, it's just like this past week, it's just like I look at my calendar and I'm like, I don't know when I will have time to do. The only thing that I do have time, like even me coming to this, I was rushing from the studio to come home, and then I'm like, oh, we're eating dinner, and then all of a sudden, like, you text me, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go downstairs. So I'm running downstairs. So this is the thing. If anybody's watching, this is the real behind the scenes
This is
of
it.
what it looks like, And I think some people think that it all fits. I mean, like, yes, there are parts that fits, but like you are still navigating life and you're still navigating, I got my daughter and I want to take her to dance and she wants to go to dance and right now, it's hard to take Noble in a car because he screams bloody murder to the point where he breaks out in hives when we drive. Now, to anybody who hears this and you don't have kids, you don't understand. But for those who do have kids, that 35, 45-minute drive of straight screaming to the 10th degree where you take him out of his car seat and he's sweating and he broke out in hives because he's crying so much. It's tough, like, it wears on you. Um, so I think what it is like thank you for reminding me. I gotta wrap up because they have to go to bed. So this is it. I can't I love this. This is great. I gotta say, if I'm gonna sorry, if I'm going to stress out about it, I'd rather do it with you. I'd rather do it with what we're doing. Like, this is cool, this is fun, but it's like, this is as real as it gets, you know? Kinsey texted me, he's like, "Hey, getting the bag with Noble." I'm like, "Oh, that was a heads up of, hey, it's time for you
It's time
to
to
shut it
wrap this
down."
up.
wrap
Great.
this up because the kids got to go to bed. Um,
Let's wrap it up. We could talk more on
we'll
the
talk
next
tomorrow. We'll talk. Yeah.
podcast. There's
Well,
lots to
cool.
talk about.
Dude, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. How can people find you, Chad, if they are living in Chicago or they know people in Chicago?
Please go to mosaic.org/Chicago and RSVP. You'll be part of our email, and I can contact you and tell you about all the things coming up. So go there.
Fantastic. And if you're in Atlanta, same thing. Go to mosaic.org/Atlanta. You can RCP there. Follow us on social media, mosaic.atlanta. You can always text the number and the link in the bio, and you'll get all the information from there. But we love you. Till next time, Chad. I'll see you
All right.
tomorrow.
See you
Love you,
tomorrow.
bro.
Bye.